Hi, I'm Johnny from UltimatePaperMache.com, and in this video we're going to see how the pieces go together for the new Pitbull mask. And there's 26 pieces, but they're all pretty big, and so this one actually goes together fairly quickly. So let's go ahead and get started. Now the first thing we have to do, of course, is to print the PDF, just the pattern pieces. And I always put them on these full sheet labels. You can print them on regular copy paper and then stick them onto your cardboard with a glue stick, but I really do think that the labels work better, so that's what I always use. And I didn't put it on straight. It's okay. You're going to need 3 cereal boxes for this. I don't actually eat cereal, so I use light chip bar that I get from Amazon.com. And then we have to cut out all the pieces. Now this piece number 1 is his nose, and those squares right there are his nostrils, so we're going to have to cut into the piece and cut out that hole. So that's all done. The lines with the dashes are going to be bent upward like this, and the ones with dashes and dots, those will bend inward, but in this case probably not very much, but sometimes it's just easier just to kind of soften up the cardboard a little bit, and then while we're taping them together, they'll just naturally bend in the right way. Now we're going to start taping them together, and it's going to go pretty fast. I'm just going to go ahead and get started on the nose. I cut this one open right here, of course. You saw me do that so that I get the hole. So I'm just going to try to get that back, which is 1 piece of tape. Let's see if that works. Yeah, I did. This has to bend down, of course. It's got the dashes on there. And this one has to bend down too, 2 different ways, so that it'll meet this part. You always want to just double check that you're actually taping edges together that have the same number on them. That's how we tell if they're in the right place. We already saw piece number 2, and we're going to tape that right at the top of his nose. That goes along the top of his muzzle. And I'm going to turn it over and reinforce it on the back. I do that on almost every seam if I am able to. Sometimes you just can't get to it, but it's a good idea to do it if you can. Go ahead and bend these up a little sharper to match. I'm going to turn this one over and grab that very last edge just from the back. Sometimes it's just easier on the back. You'll be able to tell. And I'm going to reinforce it on the front. 3's got kind of a lot of these inner cuts. I call them darts just because I had to take sewing in high school. And I'm just taping them all shut before I'll tape this to anything else. And we want to do that with all of the pattern pieces. If there's inner cuts like that, no matter what you call them, go ahead and tape those together first. Now he's going to go right here. I'm going to start out with this edge right here on the front. Just making sure that the corners all match up really nice. Okay, number 4 is coming up. It's going to be exactly like this one. I'm just going to stick it right there. So I've got number 4 all taped on except for right here in the middle and on the bottom of his nose. And I'm going to turn it over and do it this way. I want to push these together to make sure that that center line right under his nose is nice and tightly together. You don't want a gap right there. So that worked really good. And this is his lower lip. Goes right there. 6 and 7 are going to go along the side like that. 8 and 9 go along the bottom of his cheekbones. 10 goes right at the top of his muzzle. 11 and 12 are the eye sockets, and most of these lines in the middle are going to go in because it's an eye socket, and that's what eye sockets do. So we're going to just tape this on. Just need to pull these together. And remember to match up the numbers on the edges. Otherwise it would be really hard to figure out where this goes, exactly which direction. "13 and 14 are going to go right here above the eyes and create the eyebrow bones. And there's a really strong dip right in between them. So we're going to be bending this one in because it's the dashes and dots, and everything else is going to bend outward like that. Tape this one together, and you can see it's making a pretty strong curve right here. I'm going to tape this inner edge right here, and then I'm going to go back out here and tape this big one out on the very, very end. And that's going to help me get all the ones in the middle to match up right. Now everything else just kind of matches up automatically. Do number 14 exactly the same way. And then we need to match these center ones up. So I'll go ahead and grab that one. It goes right in between his eyes, right down at the bottom. So that's attached nicely. And now these have to go back a lot. I'm going to pull it around, just kind of moving the pieces so that the corners match up real nice. "15 and 16 go right here, right behind that eyebrow bone. There's 15, and 16 is going to go the same way right here. There we go. And then, of course, we have to tape the center line. Pieces 17 and 18 are going to go right here. These parts get bent in a lot because, and all the way down here like this, because he's got kind of a floppy ear, and the very top tip of it is going to sort of flop over. A lot of pit bulls do that. Not all of them, but some of them. And then we can tape this together, make the whole ear, because it's going to make kind of a cup shape like ears do. That's his ear. So you can see it's going to kind of flop over on the top. And we're going to put it right here. This way we have tape going all the way around this piece onto the back, and I think that that's going to make it a lot stronger. I'm going to reinforce it on the front and pull all the rest of them around. Just putting it around that bump. You can see that. And that's how it looks. So now we're going to do exactly the same thing with this one. And it goes right there. We need to attach it right here, right along the side of his ear. And this one too, right there. Now if you turn it over, now you can see that the ears are getting a lot of tape. So they should stay on really good. "22 and 23 go right underneath his ears. And because the ears are kind of challenging to tape, I'm going to tape this in first. Now I can pull this one over and tape this one at 22 to 21. And now it just kind of goes around the ear, so we can turn it over and tape down that seam right there that goes right at the back of his ear. We got number 23 on there. Now there is one more. After we get 24 and 25 on, there is one more piece that we're going to be putting on in order to make sure it fits. He's oversized. So in order to get it to actually stay on her head, we're going to put a strap on the inside, right kind of between his ears and across our forehead. Okay, this one goes right here. I'm going to put this very last seam, the one that goes right at the back of his head. I'm putting it down on the table just because sometimes it's easier to get it in the right spot. I did tape both ends, but I want to make sure that the middle edges are nice and tightly together. There's one last thing I'm going to do, and I just now thought of it, so I don't have any lines on there right now, but I will put some on just in case you'd like to do it too. It was coming down to a point, which looks okay from the front, looks fine, but a lot of pit bulls kind of have this, I don't know, they probably just have some extra folds or something right at the bottom of their chin, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm just pushing it in. If I had lines on there, then it would be obvious where to put them, and I'll go ahead and do that. You don't have to, obviously, because it works just fine without it, but I kind of like that, kind of dipping in like that. So that'll be up to you. I'll go ahead and put the lines on there, and you can decide how you're going to do this chin when you put your pit bull together. Now we're going to make the mask fit with this strap. We're going to put it across, on the inside, across our forehead, and then tighten it up so that it fits perfectly. Now the way we want to do that is we're going to cut the top half of this line right here. It's number 106 on this side, and it's right underneath the ear. It's right at this corner. You can see right there. And we're going to do the same thing, the top half of number 51. It's right under his ear, right above that corner. So I'm going to take a really sharp knife here and very carefully cut just the top half of it, because the strap doesn't take up that whole space. Just open that up. I'm going to open up this one, top half of number 51. And number 26 is going to just thread right through that hole we just made. Just like that. Going to go all the way across the top of the head, right above those eyes, and we're going to put it through the hole on the other side. You can see it from the back, and then it'll come out right there. Now I'm right-handed, so I'm going to pull on the loose end on the right-hand side of the mask, so I need to put this one in all the way. And I'm going to make sure, you can see how it kind of wants to go in front of those eyes. And we don't want that because we'd like to be able to see out. So I'm going to move it around. There we go, right about that angle. You'll be able to see when you're messing with it. And I'm going to tape it right there with some masking tape. So I've got it at the angle, just double checking. Yeah, I like it. So I'm going to put the masking tape right there. And I'm using the masking tape because it comes off a lot easier than the plastic tape does. Now I'm going to push this forward as far as it'll go without coming out that hole, and I'm going to go try it on. Okay, I've got another piece of tape here. I'm going to probably hang on to it because I usually lose it when I do this because I can't see without my glasses. And I'm going to put this on with my glasses off. If you're going to wear this with a hat, make sure that you're wearing your hat when you make sure that it's going to fit, because you want it to fit the way you're going to wear it. That's obvious, but it's really easy to forget stuff like that. Now I've got the end. I'm pushing on the back of the mask, I'm pulling on the end here until it tightens up against my forehead. And now what I'm doing is I'm putting a pencil mark right there where the strap meets the front of the mask, because when I'm going to take this tape off, it's gonna get out of place. And I want to make sure that I put it back where it belongs, or if I don't, the mask won't fit properly. So I did that on both sides. Now this side has a fairly short end, so I'm just going to take the masking tape off, put a little teensy bit of glue in the back of it. This is wood glue, but you can use Elmer's glue, PVA glue, white glue, anything you got. Just a little bit. I'm putting it back right where I got it. See that line? And I'm putting some masking tape over it. Not so much, there we go. And then we're going to let this dry, and as soon as it dries, I will be able to put the paper mache over it, and it's going to be really strong. Now this side has the longer end, so I'm going to pull that off. You know, it's actually possible that this strap won't be quite long enough for you if your head is a different size than mine. So you might just need to use a scrap of cardboard and make a longer one. There we go. I'm going to put some glue back there. You don't need much. Put it back, make sure that, okay, it took some of my line off when I pulled off the masking tape, but not all of it, so I got enough. So now, as soon as that glue is dry, it's going to be ready for the paper mache, and then we get to paint him. So we'll be doing all of that in the next video. Be sure and watch for it. I'll see you there.